AJ and I have been married for almost 4 years, and prior to getting married, we always knew that a family was in our future. It was just a matter of time. So as soon as we started our family planning, we made sure that we were with a doctor who was connected to Wentworth-Douglass. I had a very typical pregnancy for the most part. Penny was tracking along just fine, and I was due at the end of February. And at about 7 months, I started tracking small. If she kind of drops down in those growth charts, babies sometimes are classified as IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction. So I was then scheduled to be induced on a Monday. So it was about 3.5 weeks before we thought she would be coming. And that tells me that there's some risks involved if they want her to come out that quickly, much before her due date. So it was really a scary moment. When we started the induction process, things moved along pretty quickly. Penny was born in the evening, and she looked great. She was tiny, 4 pounds, 3 ounces, but her vitals all looked good. And I was able to hold her on my chest for 2 hours before they even did a weight, which was amazing. Once they got her weights and we were set a little bit, they did do tests for her blood sugars, and her blood sugars were really low. And that was the first time that I got like that pit in my stomach, like, okay, like there might be some further things that are going on, which was so scary. And also just after just giving birth and the hormones and the exhaustion and the fatigue of it all, it's just hard to handle any of those extra kind of emotions. So we were apart from her for probably about 3 hours, and then when we went in to see her and I saw the little tube in her nose, it really just broke my heart because she was so little and just so fragile and precious. To see that she couldn't really thrive totally on her own and needed some help was just hard to see as a mom. I just wanted to be able to give her everything that she needed, and she needed a little bit of extra help. So the next step was that she needed to get an IV. It's hard enough to learn how to hold a teeny 4-pound baby, and when she's hooked up to all those monitors and the wires, it was a bit of a challenge. From days 9 to 12, it was very much like, you might go home today, you might go home today. So the day that we were finally told we actually could go home, it almost was like, are you kidding? Like, it didn't feel real. Putting her in the car seat to go home after being here with so many nurses, it almost felt like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? When we first got home, it felt amazing to be in our own environment, and it felt even more like, oh my goodness, this is our own baby in our own house. Like, it was just wild. And we'd become really close with one of the nurses, Kathy, who helped me so much, I mentioned earlier, with lactation support. She checked in daily, which was amazing and was so helpful because it was just really nerve-wracking going from the level of support that we had here to being home just the two of us. I felt like we were really partners in her care, which was, I think, unique to hear, and which is part of the reason that we chose Wentworth-Douglass. Being in the hospital for 12 days is hard, but we weren't kept in the dark at all, so I felt like we were part of the whole process with different action plans that we were going to take with her.
There were some instances where it was definitely scary. Your mind is like buzzing around, but they were really good about kind of calming you down.
There were a few points during our stay when different medical interventions were happening where nurses would come, and although things were happening quickly, someone would come over and take the time to sit down and slow it down and talk it through so that it didn't feel so crazy and chaotic, because that's a scary feeling to think that something out of control is happening with your baby.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, why, if we live in Portsmouth, would we go to Dover to have our baby? And I just tell them, like, you gotta go check out that hospital. It's like a 5-star hotel, and this hospital doesn't feel like a hospital. It's comforting.
Yeah.
Walking in today felt like coming home.
Yeah, I was so excited to come today.
Yeah, it's nice.